Hi, everyone. Kate Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. I wanted to pop in today for a quick broadcast on leadership. We're getting a lot of questions, and this is a topic that is huge for the clients we work with, because when you are a leader, being able to hold yourself in that leadership position without it completely destroying your quality of life, in the sense of creating burnout, of creating the stress, because leading others means there's more people relying on you, right? And there's people looking at you to have the right words, to perform in a certain way. And that can really cause you to crater. And I think what's going on in the world today, as we now face not just one, but two major crises, certainly here in the United States and throughout the world, it requires some traits that when you really hone in and focus on those and you master them within yourself, leadership is no longer something that pulls from you and sucks from you and takes from you. It's actually a gift that you're giving to the world. So without further ado, what those traits are, and I love this because I was recently reading something on that Michelle Obama wrote, and one of the traits is, she's absolutely right, is compassion. And I would go further to say that's even empathy. One of the things we see a lot in people, because we are human and we're trying to do well for our lives in the world, is that a lot of times we will create a leadership persona that's about protecting ourselves. And no one would ever say that out loud. No one would ever say like, oh, I'm the kind of leader that protects myself. But we show up in ways in the workplace or in this current world order with a leadership style that is about protecting our ego and our esteem. So, for example, if you take that into the boardroom, when you walk into the boardroom or the conference room or the Vimeo call or whatever it is today, the Zoom call today, what you're really wanting to do is focus on the other people in the room. But very often what we do is we focus on ourselves. Where should I sit? What should I say? Am I going to say the right word? Am I totally prepared for any question? Because if they ask me a question, I need to be prepared. All of those things, which are very natural in the corporate environment, are about protecting you. How am I going to be seen in this environment? It has nothing to do with the information, the data, the other people. It's like, oh my gosh, what if I show up and they ask me a question I don't know? And even this is what we work on with a lot of our clients. What if there is someone in that conference room or on that Zoom call or in your neighborhood that challenges you in some way? A lot of times, without having empathy being seated and compassion being seated in your leadership style, you're going to defend yourself. So if someone in the boardroom challenges one of my ideas, if I am not having empathy and compassion seated in my leadership style, I am immediately going to either shut down and become quiet. I might agree to whatever they say because I'm avoiding the confrontation. Okay, sure, I'll do that, which means I walk away with 10 times the workload. Or I'll become confrontational. And for women, becoming confrontational in the workplace, unfortunately, it means that you are labeled the you know what in the china shop, and it ain't bull. That's not the word. So what happens is we become too edgy, and then we're like, well, what do you mean by that? Because again, we're defending ourselves and we don't even realize it. You can see this with what's going on in the world today. You might have a neighbor who is acting in a way in regards to COVID or the issue of racial injustice in a way that is not how you would act. And what we want to do is we want to judge them immediately. We want to protect our state of the world, our esteem. My way is right, your way is wrong. And what we really want to do is have empathy and compassion and say, I wonder what's going on for that neighbor who is behaving in a way that's different than me. I wonder what's going on for that guy in the boardroom or that gal in the boardroom who just challenges me every time I open my mouth. It doesn't mean I'm not saying about forgiveness. We're not talking about anything. It's just saying when we approach things with empathy, and that's tied very closely to curiosity, now we can actually affect systemic change. Maybe your neighbor isn't wearing a mask for COVID for a reason that actually would make a lot of sense if you ask them. And maybe you're really upset at them and you're just indignant that they're not wearing a mask. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe your neighbor is like head to toe in a hazmat suit for COVID and you're like, what the heck is wrong with them? Ask. Maybe there is a child in the house with autoimmune and they need to have hazmat on, or maybe they have something that's going on that really makes them feel like they're choking every time they have a mask on, and they're just doing to stare, whatever. It doesn't mean you have to even agree with them. But when we immediately close down on someone else's behavior, that is meant to protect ourselves. That's not leadership. Leadership is leading people, whether or not you completely agree with them, because you have empathy and compassion. You're trying to understand them so that then you can have a dialogue that is brave and courageous and is built on a common understanding of saying, what's going on? This is where I can impact change. If someone is in the boardroom and they're challenging my ideas, a great thing to do is just use curiosity. Hey, Jane Doe, I'm curious. I noticed when I came in here that you're challenging my ideas. What do these ideas mean to you? Can I ask? And you can say that right in a boardroom in front of everyone. If you don't feel like that's appropriate in the boardroom, then you can do that afterwards. Hey, Jane Doe, I wanted to drop by your office. I'm curious. I noticed that the last 4 meetings we've had together, especially the public ones that we have, is that you tend to challenge my ideas. Can I ask, do my ideas threaten you in some way? Are they upsetting to you? Or is it just something where you don't feel like I'm not on goal? Help me understand. I want to work with you. That's leadership, that you can go home at night and not kick the dog and not fester and not get upset about and bring all this emotion to the surface that then disrupts your ability to live an authentic, calm, peaceful life. Does that make sense? Because not everyone is going to approach the workplace like you do. We have a lot of women we work with. They're like, oh my gosh, my boss should be acting this way. Bosses are humans. They're people. So I'm like, well, find out why they're acting that way. Have you asked? Oh no, I've never thought about asking, because we're protecting ourselves. They should act this way so that I can feel better about who I am. Leadership begins with yourself. You have to feel good about who you are. And so that when there's someone else around that has a differing opinion or a differing approach or isn't up to snuff or whatever you want to call it, then that doesn't rock your world, or that doesn't bring this emotional tension or this stress or festering in you. It's just like, oh gosh, that's surprising. That's a really different way to behave. I wonder what's going on for them. And then you have to decide, how to approach them and find out. That's leadership. So you got to lead yourself first. Leadership always starts with you. And that starts with your esteem, your ego, feeling really, really rock solid. Because if you are coming out with a really strong persona, and like, this is who I am, and this is exact, and you're so emphatic about like, this is who you have to be, that's another form of protecting your esteem, because truly inside, you're not really certain who you are. You don't feel rock solid. And so you have to hold on to your ideas very, very tightly, and you're not willing to be curious and compassionate and have empathy, because your ideas are defining who you are instead of just being ideas. Right? And I'm not saying that we don't have values or we don't have beliefs. Of course, we have values and beliefs. Those are important. But it's being able to approach someone else who may have different values and beliefs or a different behavior with curiosity, not because you have to convince them your ideas are right, or not because you have to accept theirs, but it's saying the value in being human is getting to better understand each other. And now I can lead from a place of absolute owning the room, feeling comfortable and calm, having peace of mind, going home at night and enjoying a wonderful glass of wine with my husband or playing with my children, and not bringing the crush of, I can't believe my employee said that to me. I can't believe my boss said that to me. I can't believe my neighbor next door is behaving this way. I can't believe that guy in the boardroom said that to me. All of that emotional stuff is really just a way that we're protecting our own esteem. Because really, you're going to have employees that disappoint you. You're going to have bosses that disappoint you. You're going to have neighbors and business associates and colleagues and leadership people that are different than you. And that might be disappointing. It might be hurtful at times. But when we seek to understand and have compassion and try to move forward in that way and have curiosity about our own reaction, why am I reacting this way? Why am I having such a strong reaction? Is that person really behaving in a way that is that much of an affront to me? Maybe I need to be more curious. Or maybe that person has another way of doing things and I could learn from them. I will tell you, that was the biggest gift for me when I changed my leadership style to one of empathy and curiosity. I got to learn so much more about myself, but as well as about other things in the world that could really make a difference. It like opened up possibilities to me like never before, because I was no longer trying to stay like, this is who I am with two hands up and I'm ready to fight anybody. This is who I am, right? And of course I wasn't saying that in reality, but that's how it felt a lot. And that's how it looks. We end up looking like we're narrow-minded, that we're not compassionate, that we're not willing to be great listeners, and that we're really working through, a place of fear. And when we're in a place of fear, even if you're not saying that, it's seen. And then people lose confidence in you. People are not wanting to work with you, and you end up getting pigeonholed in the space that a lot of times we've put ourselves in, which is tragic, because we are all big, beautiful, amazing, smart people who can really cohabitate on this planet. I am absolutely convinced, in a way where everyone can get their needs met. But I have discovered, and what we teach is that it starts with empathy and curiosity. And when you start from that place and your esteem is in such a place that you don't need to protect yourself, you can handle almost any difficult conversation, people yelling and screaming at you, whatever it is. You can really just sit there and go, I'm really curious why this person is behaving this way. And that is the greatest gift you could give yourself, your quality of life, and the impact you could have on this world. So I hope this message has been helpful to you. I hope it's something that you will be willing to pass along to other leaders or just other people in your network who could really hear this in this time, whether or not you have a team of 1,000 or just a team of one, which is yourself. I think right now in this world, what we need is curiosity, empathy, and a willingness to open up. And those courageous conversations will happen, and we can all raise the bar and have a better quality of life. I'm Kate Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. Thanks so much for tuning in.